Yo, what is good? I'm on my way. This girl, look. My fault. What's good, YouTube? So this is Lex coming at y'all with another video. I'm vlogging while I'm driving. Don't do this shit. But yeah, I'm about to go pick up my car. My mom is driving my car because you already know they want to drive my car. You feel me? But so about to go pick up my car real quick. I was gonna make a little video, a little educational video, as y'all can see from the title. If you want to STI swap your WRX, and I'm gonna give y'all a little advice that I should have taken myself when I was, going through what I was going through with my car personally. So I'm gonna get into that, and then I'm gonna get into like the cost of everything, and is it just worth it all around? Yeah, so whenever I get my car, I'm gonna get to the park. I'm gonna go ahead and start filming this video for you guys. It might be later in the day, but who the fuck knows? Cause you already know your boy busy, and I'm dark skinned. I don't understand why I'm dark skinned for. It's crazy. But anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get to another spot and start recording again. See y'all in a little bit. Yes, sir. Just got done eating this Bojangles, man. You feel me? Just look at her. Alright, so I'm gonna walk up in this park real quick. The weather is beautiful out here. I'm gonna get to my little spot and we'll get started on this little discussion board right here. All right, so let's get into it. So today I just wanted to talk to you guys about the STI swap for your WRX. So I'm just kind of running y'all through the backstory of my car if you haven't seen my other video. So I went through like 3 transmissions of owning that WRX. So I went through 3 transmissions. It cost me, man, like total for all 3, like rebuilds and all. And I'm sorry for the wind. If the wind is picking up, I'm not too sure. But the cost of that, man, that shit was like, I swear it was like 10,000, like for like 3 transmissions. Like I replaced one, like I swapped it out for another WRX transmission, and the other 2 were rebuilt, I want to say. I really can't remember. It happened like so long ago. My recent one happened, last year, but that was a rebuild. But anyway, so I spent around like $10,000, $12,000 between there, like damn near what I bought the car for, which I bought the car for about $14,000. So yeah, so today I just wanted to really just talk to you guys about, like, is it necessary to STI swap? Is it worth the money putting into it, or you're just better off just buying the entire STI chassis, car, whatever, if it's just worth just buying that. But yeah, let's get into it. So right now I do own an STI, and I'm loving that damn STI, man. It's taking my money, but I love it, bro. It's like I don't ever regret buying that car, man. It's just, shit is so expensive. But overall, I love that car. I want to take care of it. Like today, I got to do a oil change on that car, so I'm going to do that later on today. But yeah, I 100% love that car. That car is like my baby. Now, my other car, I will say this. Overall, although it's a WRX, I just like the way it drove a little bit better as far as like the gearing ratios. Like the gearing on that car was just great. Now, as far as shifting goes, it's not as satisfying as the STI, but I will say the WRX, I just love the way it drove. The feel of the car kind of felt natural to me, whereas this car right now, of course, it's new too, so that might be another reason. It just feels really, not necessarily high tech, but it feels easy. Like, it feels like an easy car to drive. I really can't describe it. Like if you drove like my WRX and you drive this STI, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But so without further ado, let's just get into what it takes to get the swap going. All right, so this is based off of I think Alexander Vargas or Vargas. I forgot. I'm gonna tag him into the video, but it costs. Well, I'm going based off of his video and how much he paid for it. Also, with my research about what I was going to do with my car. So with my model, I'm not too sure if other models I might not be, you know, as knowledgeable about other models. I just know my model. You can do it one or two ways. You can save yourself some money and do it with a bug-eye diff, which is the R160 diff, which that'll save you like a ton of money. Like you wouldn't even need to like swap. I think the knuckles, the axles, you wouldn't need to swap any of that. All of that, you really wouldn't have to do anything. All you would need is like the transmission, clutch. Sorry, I had a burp. You can reuse your hubs, everything. Like all you need is really the diff, transmission, and clutch, from my understanding, and the diff. Which the R160 diff is really hard to come by. Usually that runs you about $300 to $600 for the diff, and the transmission and everything itself. That could range between $15 to about $2,000 for just like the transmission, clutch, and everything. But yeah, that's if you want to cheap out and do that. But if you want to do the real swap with the 5x114 hubs and everything, the knuckles, Brembos, everything, this is what this video is about. So starting out, if you got the trans, diff, axles, and drive shaft, and I mean you can even get Brembos with it and everything, that could run you from between, depending on how you get the kit, it can run you between, and also which kit you get. I heard the 07 one is a little bit better. You get better gearing in that. That will run you about like between $2,500 to about, if you got the Brembos and everything, $2,500 to about $4,000 between there. That is if you get everything to go with it. Now the clutch, depending on how much power you want to make out of it, out of your car in general, I would say the good in between clutch, either like a stage 2, stage 3 clutch, that'll run you about $500-$600. You can run like stock flywheel as well, I believe. You don't really have to get a lightweight flywheel, it just chatters. That's what I had on my WRX. I didn't really care for it. Now let's say if you don't get the Brembos with it, but you decide to get the Brembos in the long run, the Brembos itself will run you about $1,000 to about $1,500. Living out in North Carolina, you got bugs and shit flying, but yeah, so the Brembos itself are about $1,000, $1,500. You get that separate, and then while you have that off the car, like Alex was saying, you might as well just do an entire Brembo rebuild, as far as like brake pads and everything, getting new rotors, like everything, like just the whole 9 yards. That'll run you about like $200 to $500 depending on what you want to replace. And also I would say, depending on your year, you can get an STI cluster. My year that I had the 09, I really didn't need it unless I wanted to run a DCCD, but I mean, I don't use it on my STI right now. I barely use it unless just like I just want to use it, but I don't really mess with it like that. I just let it be on automatic, which that's what I heard is like what you should do, just keep it on automatic, because you could, depending on what you are doing with the car, like you could track it or whatever, and you know what you're doing with the DCCD, you can control it. But if you don't know what you're doing, just leave it automatic. Break some shit. But anyway, with that being said, you can get an STI cluster to show you like what, to show you like where your diff is. It's like, oh, I had a break. Sorry. So it'd be like, you know, you can full lock it, whatever. It'll show you all of that. So that will run you about $200 for the cluster, depending on what year you have and depending on where you're at. And then the DCCD controller, there's this aftermarket place that sells it. I forgot what it's called. It's like a DCCD Pro or something like that. That's about $400. And you get the switches, I believe, to go in the car with it. So highly recommend that. And the knuckles for the car, if you decide, like I said, if you decide to do the STI knuckles, and then the hubs and everything, so you can get that 5x114, which that's like amazing. Like, I hate the 5x100. That shit, you can't find no wheels for it, and if you do, they don't fit good. So highly recommend knuckles, hubs, and everything. Anyway, for the knuckles, that'll be about $800. Which, like I said, now I'm looking at it, I still kind of wish I STI swapped my WRX just so I can keep my mod. So let me add this up for y'all real quick. Alright, so I did the math for you guys. So if you were to do like the full on STI swap with the Brembos, knuckles, hubs, and just everything other than the R160 diff, and you run the R180 diff, that'll run you about $5,500, which that's really, I mean, considering what I paid for my car and the repairs I've done for my car as far as like transmission goes, hell, I could have had 2 STI swaps already, if you think about it. So highly recommend it, then. Highly recommend it. Now, if you wanted to, not cheap out, but like, you don't have the money for it, which I definitely understand, because I didn't have the money for it at the time. I definitely recommend the R160 diff. You're not missing too much as far as like the R180 diff. I mean, it's a stronger differential, but I mean, you got a 6-speed STI transmission. So I mean, anyway, if you kept the 5x100 hubs, it'll run you about $1,400. I'm sorry, not 14. I wish. $4,200. Which, I mean, at that point, you might as well, if you're already spending that much money, I would just say flat out and just save up money and then just do the entire STI swap. Now, this is not accounting for, let's say if you have somebody else do it, the labor for another shop to do it, which I know a shop, I think Insomnia, no, Insomnia don't do it, because I went over there and asked. They don't do the swap, but they can get the parts for me to do the swap. So I mean, if you can find a shop to do it, they'll charge you like maybe $2,000 in labor, maybe even more. I don't know yet, because I never really had anybody say yes to me for it in North Carolina. So overall, I wish I would have done this swap for my car, just so I could have had a way better car. And with all the mods I've done to it, like, I was kind of sad giving it up, but I mean, it was too late then. And then when I first had my first transmission done, turbo time, I do not recommend them at all to nobody. And this is not me like being a dickhead to them or anything, because they have very good customer service, but bro, they tax the fuck out of me. And what they do is, if you don't know nothing about cars, and that was me at the time, I didn't know really anything about cars at the time as far as like WRXs and transmissions, they'll take advantage of you. Like, they will definitely take advantage of you, which I've learned my lesson from that point. Which they charged me for a WRX transmission. They didn't rebuild it, they just found one, just put it in there with a new clutch and flywheel, and they changed like my oil and shit. But I mean, like, they charged me like $4,200 for that. And I'm like, bro, like, you see how much the STI swap costs, and they're trying to tell me the STI swap was like $8,000 and plus labor, that's like $10K. Like, bro, they were being like, literally, people would take advantage of you, bro. So just do your research. From what I've heard, the STI swap is not that hard. My recommendation is to find somebody local that you know that works on cars and they have a Subaru. Like my boy, if I would have known that he knew a lot about the car itself, I would have went to him and we could have did the whole swap together. Like, we could have made a whole series about it. Alright, I'm not too sure where I stopped at, but my battery died. But like I was saying, I'm gonna just start from but yeah, so if you have the money like I did at the time, I definitely recommend doing an STI swap. It's just more beneficial. It'll last longer than my WRX transmission did, and it'll feel a lot better. Although I like the gearing in the WRX, I should have just went with dog gears, but I don't know how much that shit is. But I'm not about to build my WRX transmission if I can get an STI. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not about to do that. So anyway, if I knew the people I knew now, if I knew my boy, his Hawkeye, he knew about swapping transmissions and doing all this other stuff, then I would have definitely had him help me out, or we could have did a build series together. We could have talked about his car a little bit more. Like, we could have, you know, had a little series going on. But hindsight, I learned my lesson, and now I know, and now I know the people I know who to ask for information about. Yeah, just all around, I just learned a lot of things from that experience alone. But anyway, do I think a STI swap is worth it in a WRX? If you have the money, go right ahead and do it. But if you are just tired of your WRX and just you drove a STI before and you just love the STI, I would highly recommend STI. But yeah, I mean, either way, the builds will be almost similar. You know, not the same EJ motor, because I had an EJ 255. I think the STI's come with the EJ 257, which, I mean, a little difference, but I mean, either way, you can build the motor and you can still make the same power. So I mean, it's just all about how you want to do your build and how you want to do things. But would I look at you any different if you did that STI swap? Hell no. People now, I don't know, people would be like, you know, it's not a STI, but who the fuck cares? Like, you know, can they do a STI swap? Yeah, I know. They won't be able to answer that, but anyway, to make a long story short, do the STI swap if you have the money. But if you do have the money, I definitely recommend just getting the STI. Just save you a lot more time, hassle. You'll just have a nice car. You have a wing. So, but yeah, if you guys like the video, if you like the information I gave you guys, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Bro, tell your friends about my channel. And also go subscribe to my boy Julian's channel with his 370Z. His 370 is fucking sick. He's just boosted it. It's not running quite yet, but the power he's gonna make, I'm not gonna tell y'all because he kind of told me what he's going for, but I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm gonna let that be his surprise to y'all. But definitely go check out his channel, and then also go check out Alex Chandler Alexander. I'll link both of their pages in my bio, not the bio, but in the description. And go follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Mr. Fly Guy. I think my Twitter is Mr. Fly Guy JR twice. Instagram is Mr. Fly Guy JR once. Yeah. So you'll see all of that in the description. But now also, one more thing. Subscribe to my podcasting channel. We're starting to get the ball rolling again. I've been working a lot. That's why I haven't posted videos on here or the podcast channel. I'm sorry, but like, I've worked since May 27th. This is my first day off. Today is June 24th. So I missed like half the summer already, but you gotta chase a bag. But that gives me more content to give you guys, because I have some plans for the STI as far as like mods go and everything. So yeah, so if you guys like the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on all my socials, subscribe to my boys, and yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video.